This is Bob Sansevere. I'm here with Brian Murphy, the expert on all things Williamses, and John Pluym, Deputy Sports Editor at the Pioneer Press. Now, Brian, I mentioned Williams, Kevin and Pat Williams. What is happening here could have major implications on not just the NFL, but every major league sport with drug testing. Maybe you could explain a little bit more about why all the other leagues are now trying to get back the NFL in this situation with the Williamses.
Well, they've joined the case in sort of in a symbolic way. They're not going to have any influence on it. But what they're basically saying is, look, what the NFL is going to be dealing with if the Williams succeed is they have teams spread out over 21 states with different drug testing laws in each one. If they can't enforce a uniform, collectively bargained policy, it's going to blow up. MLB, the NHL, and the NBA were saying is, look, we can't afford to have this case go forward and set a precedent, or it's going to ruin our drug testing policies, and federal labor law should preempt it. On its face, the league is violating the law. The question is, does collective bargain policies and U.S. labor law preempt that? And the league says it does.
Yeah, I think what Brian's saying, I mean, this could blow up in all four leagues. This law that Minnesota has is basically saving Kevin and Pat Williams. They likely will probably get to play all 16 games this year.
I think the leagues are more concerned about, especially baseball, whose drug testing policy is under so much scrutiny, and they've had so many players test positive. Only one here in Minnesota in the last couple of years, Juan Riccone.
Quickly, I want to hit a couple of quick topics here. Joe Mauer, he was in a home run hitting contest last night, had 5, did not go really past the first round. They had to have a little interim round in there. But 10 years from now, when assuming he's still playing, and I would think he would be, how are people going to look at him? Will he be looked at as one of the greatest catchers of all time? I mean, he seems to be on his way to that if he stays healthy.
I mean, I don't think there's any doubt that he'll be, his legacy will be one of the top 5 catchers of all time. And again, it'll all come down to his health. He's had, how many catchers, have ever played this game that hit 373, can hit the ball to the opposite field, hit it out. The biggest thing and have a great arm. I do think he'll be a catcher. It doesn't sound like he's interested in playing any other position. And I think he knows that his legacy, he has a chance to be one of the all-time greats at that position. And it probably guarantees him a spot in the Hall of Fame if he stays healthy.
But the fact is, he's as good a catcher as he is a hitter. And I don't know how you can remove a weapon like that who can throw out, 7 out of 10 runners, manage a pitching staff, and even make the plays that he made earlier this year with that diving tag at the plate.
Well, the way he moves out is if at what point, if Justin Morneau's contract runs out and he goes somewhere else, then you look at him at a first baseman. Now, Brian, Jacques Lemaire, are you surprised at all that when he left, I think a lot of people believed he wanted to coach again. He just didn't want to coach here anymore.
Yeah, I think he had seen that he had run his course here, which is pretty much how he's been his entire coaching career. He left New Jersey after they had won the division and a first-round playoff exit. I don't think his job necessarily was in jeopardy, but he has a keen sense of when his message is no longer coming across and being heard. And this is a coach that's never been fired. This is a player that's never been cut. He retired at 34 when he realized he just didn't want to do it anymore. He's a guy that seems to have a pretty good control of his own destiny.
Now, John, speaking of a team making a run, that would not be the Timberwolves. This Ricky Rubio thing, it's pretty clear he does not want to play for them. He would play immediately or try to work out a deal if he got traded elsewhere. Do you think that there's any chance of him being a Timberwolf, whether it's now or 2 years from now?
I think if the Timberwolves are smart, he plays here. If they're not, they're going to continue their slide. I think they got to find a way to get him here, and if they don't, it's not going to be good at the gate for him.
I think these roadblocks are why the other 3 teams passed on him. Now, speaking of a guy coming to a place, Brett Favre, this has not surprised me at all. The other day, throws the 100 passes. Darrell Bevel watches him. He's not ready to let him know until just before camp. He doesn't want to cut short his summer vacation. I wrote about that a little bit today. I just don't think he's ready to say, okay, summer's over, I got to get to work. He's going to string it out as long as he possibly can, which probably will be a day or two within the start of training camp.
Brad Childress looks like a complete idiot right now. For him not to come out and say, you know what, we want this guy. He's better than the other 2 quarterbacks we have on this team. We're serious about this. We want him here. The Vikings I think they're on a very slippery slope, because if Favre gets to July 27th and he's like, you know what, I don't think I want to play football. It's going to be a really bad PR situation for this team.
He's coming.
Favre has held the cards over the last 3 years, over the Packers, over the Jets, now over the Vikings. He is the guy that's going to determine when he wants to play on his terms and when he wants to come. By signing up for the Favre experiment, this is what they should have expected.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he just decided, when do they leave Mankato? Only 12 days for it. I mean, I'm not going to come until after camp starts.
Well, see, at that point, I would pull the plug.
Well, you know what? I don't think they will, because it's too big a thing for the gate, and it's too big a thing for helping this team win. So, Brian Murphy, John Pluym, Bob Sansevere. I know we'll be talking some more Favre next week.